Hey, and welcome to another exciting episode of our role-playing show, Role-Based Podcast. I am your host, but in this show, we're taking you on a journey. So actually, I am the first member of your bandwagon, Jeremy, a.k.a. your in-game boss, a.k.a. your retro activist. And of course, the second member of your party that will be joining you, Mr. Brian Foster.
Evening, morning, wherever you're at. Ohio gozaimasu if you're a Japanese. Well, I don't know.
Brian, we are back again to go with my pick in this episode of a game that was on the PSP called Brave Story. And Brave Story is made by Game Republic, which sadly you found out that they no longer exist.
Yeah.
They shut down. And for people that don't know, they're known for the Genji series, or Genji 1 and 2.
And I love those games, by the way.
Yeah, so, they hit a rock bottom and they kind of disappeared. For a while, I thought they were Sony in-house, but I think they were not. They were just a third party or second party or anything like that.
Maybe there was Sony and they just cut them off so they can not go under or something. Mm-hmm. Not like Sony would go under, but still. Yep.
So I ran into this game reading a magazine a while back, and I'm a sucker for art where they're kind of doing something a little bit different. And when I saw this game, this was based on an anime I watched beforehand called Brave Story. When you a lot of people probably don't know this going into this, and I think this would hurt the game. One, it was on PSP, and I don't think a lot of RPG fans were heading towards the PSP at the time. Either that, or most of those PSP games end up kind of getting transported to the PS3 later on in some sort of way. Either like like downloadable or just like a remaster of it in some way. Like Odin Sphere was definitely one of those that used to be on there from Atlas and whatnot. But
sidebar, I just found that game for $15 and I bought it the other day.
Oh, Odin Sphere?
And I've been playing it, and it's very fun.
Good. That artwork from Vanilla, I think it's Valhalla.
It's like
Vanilla Studio, yeah,
Vanillaware or something.
Yeah,
like that.
because they done another game called Dragon something that's
Dragon's Crown.
Yeah, Dragon Crown, and I have that one.
I have that too.
Do you have Muramasa?
Yes, I have that on my Vita.
Okay, I have it on my Wii. So.
I think is this the first one or second? I don't know. It's made by the same people, I can tell.
Yeah, and then they recently did a new one that got ported over here, 13 Sentinels. So, yeah. So, for people that don't know, this game is based off in the same universe as the anime A Brave Story about a kid that kind of gets the whole, zap into a new world and becomes a hero in that world. Name an anime that doesn't kind of use that idea, right? Or a children's story and whatnot. This is also based on a manga, of course. So, most animes are from mangas and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But this game here that I pick, you don't necessarily have to watch the anime, but at the same time, it helps. Because the anime kind of gives you the idea of what's going on in the world that you are going into.
Maybe it's kind of like books, I guess. Say you read a book versus watching a movie, and the book will give you a better description than, say, the game or the movie could give you.
Yeah, and basically it sets up like this character of something bad happens, and they have to go to another world that can help him fix what's going on in the other world. So the story is set in two different realities. So you have the real world, and then you have this fantasy world, which it both kind of connects in its own way, especially for in the anime one. They know that, this kid's, I think his mother's sick or something like that, that he goes here to be a traveler. And if he succeeds of collecting certain gems or whatnot, he gets a wish made at this tower, which brings us to this game that does that, which we'll get into in a second. But, I think a lot of people didn't know that this anime exists, and because of that, it can kind of leave you a little lost, especially if you see these characters. You could play this game and you can see all these characters, and you probably wouldn't know, Brian, just because if I didn't tell you about this anime, you think these characters just exist in that game just to exist in that game.
Yeah.
You didn't know they were based off anime coming into this world, right? Because this Brave Story is its own story with these characters putting in here, and because of that, it's going to be interesting to talk about where this story goes. So let's go ahead and get into the story that is Brave Story. And by the way, funny story about the anime, I forgot to mention. This movie is in English, and it is in every other region except America. So it came out in Europe, it came out in Australia, but it never came to America. Yet, we get the PSP game that came to America. So a lot of lost in translations that we never got official release of this in America, including connecting this. So bad marketing to me and bad connection to doing this. So just putting that out there. And so basically the story starts as you are this kid. And by the way, I will butcher names, so be ready for that.
I'll fix it.
Thank you. Tatsuya. Okay. So you start with a character named Tatsuya. And he is basically this boy that is playing with his PSP in a park with a girl named Miki. Is it? Yeah, Miki. And funny story, it looks like he's playing the game that you're about to play on his PSP if you look hard enough.
It does.
And that weirds me out. It's like, did you just break the fourth wall or something like that? I don't know, man. That's weird. Anyways, the kid is into his game so much that, you know, he's ignoring Miki. And I believe there was also a dog, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a dog.
Yeah. That Miki got kind of upset and kind of went his way. And by the way, you do have choices to say, but it's one of those choices where, like,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As I chose both.
Yeah. So he kind of ignores her. She goes somewhere, and all of a sudden she falls ill, and she's in the hospital. So you, as this kid, you know, desperate and upset, goes up to the roof, and then you meet a talking frog, and he tells you that if you want to save, you know, Miki, you need to. I need to take you to this world. So what does he do? Well, first of all, he opens up the kingdom door. Came from Kingdom Hearts, because that door looks very Kingdom Hearts.
But he didn't need a key blade.
No, he doesn't, and he gets granted into this world where he is a traveler. And as a traveler, your goal is to collect these certain gems, head to this tower to get your wish made. Now, that's basically the gist of the story. So, with that being said, my question for you, Brian, is how many other travelers are in this game?
That's a good question. Because they said there's somebody you specifically talked to. I think the first girl you get with the bow and arrow. I can't remember her name. But
that is Yuno.
The first girl. Okay, when you get Yuno, you talk to her parents. Her parents says that if ever, when I was little, if ever a traveler came, I was to go with them, no questions asked. So this would suggest that there has been either several travelers or at least one other traveler or something like that. No, it's at least three, because somebody has to went with them to tell you to go and all that. So that's just assume that there has been several travelers or whatever. So I'm going to assume that there's been a few, and they're supposed to have just either weird powers or some kind of, I don't know, ambrosia for people to chase down, because they're like, drop everything and go. Yeah,
because they also raised the question of how many gems are in this world. Is there enough for each traveler?
Didn't they say it was 5? There's 5 goddesses or something?
Yeah, they said 5, but if the travelers keep coming through here and getting their wish made, how do these gems keep coming around?
I don't know. There's a Dragon Ball. They just shoot away or something. I don't know.
Because it seems like it's a foot race of getting to these gems. And
so you're thinking, like, is how many travelers are there at a time? Is it like so you think that there at any given time there's like 7 travelers all chasing the same gem?
Is that, or there's just a lot more gems out there, and whoever gets the 5 and gets to the tower first gets their wish made? I don't know.
That's an interesting theory.
I don't know. Because through my journey with this game, which, by the way, I put in 9 hours and 27 minutes, and you put in
8.5. So
within that time, you have met at least the one traveler that looks like a wizard with the weird green hair sticking out when you were in the church, church area, right? Mm-hmm. And he is a traveler too, right? And you know he's a bit of a dick.
Very much.
Yeah, but same thing here. Later on, you meet the main protagonist in the anime that also is a traveler. And let me tell you the difference between that. His name is Wataru, because King Kina, who we will talk about later, he's part of that crew, along with a cat girl named Mina. So Yuna's not the only cat person you see in this game. So, but some of the things that definitely stood out in this game to me was, one, it at the beginning felt kind of Kingdom Heartsy, where you're going through the trials of these their own way to question you. It's like, what do you care? Do you care about love, such and such and such?
Yeah.
You know,
they did do that. I noticed.
So it kind of felt like the Kingdom Hearts style of these trials and whatnot.
It's like it's like, do you value strength or do you value defense? And obviously, if you pick strength, it gives you more strength or whatever. And they even give you the same thing that Kingdom Hearts does at the end. It's like, okay, so you've chosen these 3 things. Is this what you're going to stick with, or you could change it? And it's like they just stole the template directly from that game, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and then after that, you go through a trial, which the trial is I overthinked it.
Did you?
Yep.
It was simple.
It was simple, but I thought it was going to be more to that. I was like, oh, goody. Yeah, maybe I have to change the person in the right direction, but it's like, no, you just turn them until they stop. That's it.
And I noticed that because it's like they give you, when you walk into a room and they give you an option to turn the bird. After that, the option is gone. There's no doing it again. So I said, well, that must be it. Yeah. And it was.
Yeah. I do get annoyed by games where when you go through these trials, they try to prep you up like, no one has ever passed these, or this is the most difficult thing ever. And it's like, why is it easy then? Like, why do you get me hype up like? Because that's what the wizard did, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And then it's funny because you could tell that in this world that he's done this too many times. It's like, okay, look, we're at this temple. It's scary, all this stuff. All right, if you can't, go back to my house. And then he comes back. I was like, oh, you're done. And it's like he should be like cooking or something. Like, oh, I thought it was gonna be like hours before you came back. Okay, hang on, let me put my robe back on. Okay. You must go far to a distant land. So it's so funny because like it gets chopped up in dub English, and then it's just straight text, right?
Yeah.
Only like in the important parts. But like you said, when you go on the journey, you start meeting your groups of characters that will join you on your journey. And one of the things definitely stood out for me was one, the world's name Vision is not a good name to me. I think it's boring. I think it doesn't make sense to me. But whatever.
Well, is it better than Insomnia from Final Fantasy 15?
Now that you mention it, and I didn't care to know that, but yes. That's worse.
No. Oh, it gets deeper. There's in Final Fantasy X, he's from Old Spirit, which is a place that never slept. Insomnia is a disease for people who can't sleep.
Huh.
Ooh, look at the correlation.
I did not know that. Naming your sick friend is pointless. Like, why do I care about naming this person that's sick and she's not going to interact? I honestly thought she was going to be a spiritual character that was to that.
Yeah.
Or naming Mickey was going to be like, okay, that's going to be my friend. I'm going to name her. We're going to be buddies. No.
It'd be like that one girl from Lufia when we played it.
Yeah.
All right. Was it Lufia? Lufia. That's her name.
Yeah. Lufia. Yeah.
But you met her little, and then she comes out, and all of a sudden she's this, I'm a sorceress or whatever. But nope, Mickey is nothing.
No, she is the sick friend. So naming her was kind of pointless to me. They should just go ahead and just give you just a plain name for her or something like that.
Maybe that's probably a plain name in Japanese. It's Miki, whatever.
Right.
It's not super great or not as strong as Goku or something. I don't know.
But like I said, like with the story though, after you get your your sword and all this stuff going on this adventure, the more I play it, the question I kept running in my head that I just don't get in this game is, and Brian, y'all help me out of this, is if you were told that you have to travel with this traveler to go succeed in the 5 gems, to go to this tower and get a wish, what do you get out of it?
What do you mean? You're supposed to be helping a sick friend. That's what you get out of it.
Is that really?
Is that really? And go. I mean,
really, you're just helping this person out. That's it. That's your journey.
Yes.
You drop everything to do that.
Yes, but during the journey is when you really get all your whatever. You get more out of it, but your initial goal is just to help out a friend. After you do that,
but they're not friends yet. They just did it. They just did it just to do it, right? Like, yes.
Oh, no. You talking about... No. Okay, I guess I get confused. You talking about Yuno's part.
I'm talking about anybody that joins the Traveler.
What does she get? I don't know. They didn't explain that, but they made it seem like you do get something out of it. But they never explained exactly what that is.
Yeah.
They just said if a Traveler shows up, you drop everything, you go, you turn the PS5 off, and you go with the Traveler. I mean, that's what they said.
So I guess, like, as a person traveling with a Traveler, if you were a person that had to travel with this hero, like, what do you personally get out of it?
I don't know.
Do you get happiness? Because you're helping this person get a wish to go back to the world. Your characters know the situation that you have a sick friend and you have to go here. But they don't portray it like that. They portray it like this is the chosen one. No matter what, you're supposed to follow this person for better, for worse.
I don't know. It's something that's unexplained. Maybe there is something great you could have. Maybe you gain a level or something. I don't know.
Gain a level.
Yeah, they never explained it, but they made it seem like everybody knew that you're supposed to go to travelers. Like, you're a traveler?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I want to give you all the food in the house or whatever, but they never explained why. But yeah, that makes sense. It's like, why would I drop everything? Well, PS5 runs great. I'm not stopping my games to go run with a traveler and possibly get killed by a pack of whatever wolves when you first find who's trying to kill her.
Yeah, I just, that confused me because the more I play it, I mean, I went on autopilot after that because I was like, okay, maybe there'll be an answer later. But the more I played it, the more I was just questioning, like.
So they never answered it after, because you got further along in the story than I did.
Yeah,
so
well, you know how it is. You wouldn't get the conclusion until you actually beat the game and then see the aftermath of what happens. Like, he got his wish, but what happened to the characters after that? You know,
they're not going to do like one of those movie spoofs where they show the end and they just show some text. After Tatsuya went back to his world, became a world-renowned survivor or whatever. They don't do that.
No, no. I guess for me it would have been different. Like, if they knew they were getting something out of it, like, hey, if you help this traveler out of it, you can get something that will help you personally. Not a wish, but it'll be something that helps you. Or maybe there's riches. Maybe you'll get this or something. Like, there was no carrot under stick for me personally if I was going to join this traveler. Like,
but did that hurt the game to not know?
No, because it's a personal issue for me, and it's not anything because it didn't hurt the game or anything. It
might be that the unknown was the seasoning that made it better, because you didn't know that what it was, but you knew everybody else knew what it was. You were just made you more curious about it. I don't think it hurt the story or anything.
No. I guess,
and it's just the mystery of it that makes you. Like, I want to keep playing because I want to know why everybody likes to follow.
Maybe that's the interesting part about it is like I don't really care about the main character. I care about like why do people care? I'm dying for you. What am I getting out of this? I'm putting my life on for you so you can get a wish. Because you were a dick to Mickey.
and that's what they want you to think, and a mission accomplished because they got you thinking about it. So
yeah, that's true.
They did the right thing.
No, that's just an interesting question because most of the time in RPG games, most allies join because they have their own cause and they want to help at the same time. Like, they're affected.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the world's ending. World ending is a great example why everybody come. We're gonna go or we're all gonna die. That's a perfect example, right?
One thing I found interesting about this game was a lot of RPGs have this big boss bad guy. Maybe I didn't run into it in mine or whatever, but this one really didn't have one. It had more of a reason why you're doing it. Like, you're doing it for the purpose of helping a friend versus, there's some guy named Ganondorf and he's bad and we got to stop him. Like, most RPGs have that aspect. There's a clear antagonist and you have to take him down. While this one was like, I'm getting some things to help my friend.
It feels like a road trip. It's like a road trip.
It has a different dynamic than most RPGs, I would say. Because it didn't, like I said, there was no bad guy you had to stop before he destroyed the rest of the world or anything. It was you're collecting some things, and there happens to be monsters in the world and some magic and stuff like that. But there's no hurry. I can stroll, I can visit the bathhouses and do it in my time because he ain't destroying nothing. I'm just getting these things.
I don't want to crack the door open of this game, but you would think with so many travelers that someone would wish something that would help the world. But every time a wish, it seems like it's a personal reason. It's never something that they can fix. Like, would you choose to say Mickey, or would you choose to some way have this wish that can help everybody out in some shape or form, right?
Well, maybe that's the antagonist. What was it? Selfishness of the travelers. Because they're never trying to help Vision. They're just trying to help themselves in whatever world they came from. Maybe that's the bad guy.
Hey, that'd be a cool twist. That'd be kind of an interesting twist.
We're like, next traveler come through here, we slapping them because no. Y'all keep taking our gems, fixing yourselves, but y'all won't even give us a breadcrumb.
And it's funny. It's basically anybody can be a traveler that just pops in there. It's basically you're a tourist.
If you're not from that world, it's like
you're
going to Japan or freaking China or something. You're a traveler. Oh, we got to travel. It'd be funny if it was like that in the real world,
right? And so, But you're right. It's basically buddy up and go on a good time, because I did like the scenery and it had a good pace. Within the hours that we played, I gone to some places. I traveled some places. In my extra hour than yours, I gone to a lot of places. Compared, you kind of prepped yourself for the big journey.
I grind it, but I do that in RPG. So,
what level did you end up at the end?
12.
I was level 28.
28.
Yeah, I was 28. 24. I was 24 because the boss fights, they give you a lot of experience, and also too.
Yeah, I noticed that.
The dungeons, which the reason why you level up is because when you're in these dungeons, you get easily lost, because this game does not want to give you a map in your dungeon, and it is confusing.
Well, it gave me a map, but the thing I was playing on didn't work for some reason.
I guess it didn't work for me either, because I just couldn't get not even a small little square with like a little tunnel or something like that.
You're supposed to press something and it brings up the map, but
I guess I did not find that button, Brian.
It explained it to you, but it was like L. It's supposed to be L, and my L button obviously wasn't working. Everything else worked completely fine, so maybe I was supposed to find a map. That's something they don't tell you, because a lot of games it's like you have a map, but only when you find it, then they show it to you. Otherwise, they won't show it.
I like the suggestion button where they suggest where you need to go next. That really helped.
That is very helpful, because that's one of the biggest hindrances of trying to play old RPGs, because they don't give you much to go off of. Mm-hmm. Like you, especially, and then they got this was something suggested in somebody's some video I watched, was like a recap option. Say you playing a game and then you go away for a little while and you come back and you have no clue what you're doing anymore. So it's like a recap option. You press the button and it's like, okay, this is where you were at and this is blah blah blah. There's a lot of RPGs, especially old ones, that could really use that option. Because I know they won't tell you jack. You're just supposed to figure it out. Like, say you're supposed to go to the certain part of the stage to start a cutscene, but you don't know where that's at. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, I know Lufia was kind of like that, but I knew what I was doing, so it's kind of like, it's fine.
Yeah. I'm glad that exists. Now, some of the little things that I noticed in this game, I think there were some good ideas, and there were some ideas that was kind of like, why? For one, the snob was kind of interesting, but it was kind of pointless, and that's the social networking of bird lovers. Or basically. And gosh, they really want you to know that, because they would not let you move on without knowing it. They made you do it.
They made you do the bird catching mission and everything.
So the way that system works is you're basically going to a battle, but birds are flying around and you're supposed to capture them. You throw bait out. If they eat the little balls that you throw out, they get bigger, and that's the bigger the catch, more experienced the birds are. Mm-hmm. Wasn't a big fan of that. I was fine without that. But let me tell you, they're in every town, and they look at you like, you want a bird fight?
And they're always indicated by a guy sitting there, and there's a little bird by his feet, usually.
Mm-hmm. And so
but it's I didn't know. I guess I didn't get deep enough into it, but I'm assuming you could do something with the birds that help you out in battle, I guess. But they was like, you can take the birds, you can fuse them, and then they'll give you certain things or certain buffs or something like that. But I don't think I got far enough into it for that to take effect. So I didn't really see the point of bird catching. It's like, I mean, it seems to me that was more of an intrusive side quest, like
Chocobos.
So you got like Blitzball, or you got card games or stuff like that, and these other games that are more just RPG focused. I mean, these are just little side quests that could possibly get you a better item or get you up in battle. But this one seems like you needed to do that for the story, and that's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. I wrote down in my notes that it took several hours before actually getting new equipment, like armor set. It took me a while. Like it almost took over an hour, because you're at the trials, then you meet then you have to go back to the forest and go do the hunting and stuff like that. You leave there, you go on a boat, go down the river, get into the snob system. Mm-hmm. Then you finally get to a town, which it is, I believe, is kind of like a coast town where you finally get. No, it's not. Yeah, is it a coast town? Yeah, it's a coast town.
You can go to, when you get to across the river or whatever, you can go to a place called Lyris, which is the arts and crafts town, and then north is, I forget the name of that.
Yeah,
town.
But that's on the coast.
Yeah, that's the coast town.
That's the one I went there first.
I went there first too.
So that's where you got like your first equipment. I think like that's a little hurtful right there, that it took too long to get to your equipment. and on the fact that, of course, your main protagonist character does not wield a weapon. He has this golden sword weapon, and it's a weapon that takes gems. And we'll get to that in a minute, because I think that was misunderused the way they tried to do with it.
Ooh, I lost my train of thought.
The armor set and all that.
No, I think you could buy. Oh, I can get into that. I think you can buy stuff in the first town. All right, was it the first town? You could buy stuff in the town that you meet Yuno in. It was just you didn't have the money for it, and you didn't really get money for battles. You had to buy. You had to get stuff and then sell it.
Yes, which
made it a lot longer, which is why I didn't get as far as I did, because I kept battling and then selling stuff.
Okay.
And that's how I made money to get items instead of just, naturally getting gold.
By any chance in the towns, did you ever look in the pots in the towns? The white little
pots?
Yeah,
I did.
Okay. There was some stuff.
Usually that's when I finally actually got my first bit, because I found a deal and it gave me like 200 Tims. And I was like, oh, thanks a lot, because I'd already spent 20 minutes getting like 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I still think that it took a little bit too long to get the game. I felt like once I got my armor set and everything, I felt like now the game started more than anything else. I think I also talked about that. I did enjoy your guests joining on the journey. So I like the fact that while you're on this adventure, you're always meeting all these different kind of characters that come in and out. Some of them I loved, some of them I wish didn't leave, but it is what it is. But because of that, it does give it a minus of you're taking away all these main characters' moments, right? Because some of these guests do better than some of these main characters that you joined in that way.
Oh yeah.
And so
example of that.
I think one of the things let's talk about the main sword. So every chosen one has a special sword, and for our main character, he has this sword, and it's the only sword you rock through the whole game, and you collect gems to put in that sword, and that sword changes form every time you put a gem in there.
Yeah.
Some of them were cool. I gone through 4 of them, and I'm not gonna lie. I think the original is the best looking one.
I like this.
You like the second one where the blades kind of switch around, rotate?
They swivel.
Okay, I'll tell you what. The next 2 are not really that good. I had one that was like a chainsaw kind of sword. It didn't look that cool.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, and then I forgot the last one I got, but...
if it's anything to go off a chainsaw, it's probably the ice pick or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, but the sword itself is cool, but is underused, because the one thing that annoyed me about this game was the fact that, like, here I am the chosen one, but I don't feel like I'm fighting like a chosen one. Here I get the first gem, but, like, what's my power? I don't get a power for that. It's pretty. I have to get it from still leveling up. You know what I mean? Like, you got the first gem. Cool, the sword change. It's not more powerful or anything like that.
Well, when you got the first gem, you finally got your first bravura skill, which I guess you can call magic. And because that's why I would say he felt underutilized, is because when she comes into your party, she can already use bravura skills, which again, like I said, is magic. So she can use a healing spell, and then I forget what else she gets after that.
It's mostly arrow hits. Like, she gets a sniper eye.
Yeah, she gets a poison arrow. That's right.
Poison arrow.
That was one. And then you meet one of your other...
Solgreth? You're talking about the Waterkin? The Waterkin, yeah.
You get Solgreth.
Lizard for people.
He starts out with a strong attack or whatever. Yeah, your character doesn't get anything until he gets a gem. So it seemed like, why do they got bravura skills, but I don't?
Right.
That made me feel like he wasn't a chosen. It was like, okay, you might be chosen, but we can do stuff you can't do.
Right. I still feel like I'm the most inexperienced person, and I still have to rely on my 2 allies to kind of carry me instead of like, let me be the hero, let me show out. And that's kind of that was kind of a little bit of a disappointment for me on that, especially like, I collected the blue one that gave me eyes. Now, what it does, though, is the weapon has that element in it. So, like, I noticed when I got a blue one, it was kind of water. So when I slashed people, they were weak against water kind of thing. If I fought, like, somebody that was, like, desert or something like that. Or is electric, and it affects...
Yeah, but that always brings up a question, and not even just in RPGs. It's like... And say Dark Souls, they call it split damage. Say you got a sword that does raw damage, and then you have elemental damage. Okay, because you made it to that sword, now your raw damage is lower because you added the elemental damage. Say you fight something that's strong against whatever element you got. Now you're doing less damage both ways. You're doing less raw and you're doing less elemental because they're strong against it. So you got 30 points of damage and then you got 50 points of elemental. But they're only taking 25 because they're already used to it or whatever. And then they're only taking 30 instead of the 100 that you would have had if you didn't change it. It is stupid. It's like, I'd rather just have all the raw damage, which nobody can actually be immune to raw damage versus people who could be immune to magic. So if you're in a water area and you got a water sword, that's dumb.
Yeah.
So I don't like if they give you an element that you can't even change out. It's like, don't give me a water element unless I want it. But that goes to the point where he doesn't get any other kind of swords. Like if I could have a water sword and then my regular sword, or this or that.
Like you could switch out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I mean, I find that stupid in most games.
So let's talk about the big elephant in the room. I played this game for 9 hours and 27 minutes, right? And I finally met a person that does magic that joins my party. And he's a guest. This game throws so much magic at you that you can't really do magic. None of your players through your journey does magic. You have your lizard waterkin that's just heavy damage with an axe. You have, only match she does is healing and everything is arrows. Your boy can do healing later.
Yeah.
But even the next characters like let me see right here. Like me, not Mina, but there's another girl, she dual wields and she's healing and slash. It wasn't until 9 hours when I hit this town where I met this wizard boy. But you meet other characters. I met a wizard in one part of the game that was also a traveler that got lost with me, and he was throwing magic out of the blue, these fire tornadoes and everything. Like, why does my party don't have a magic person yet? What is with these RPG games that we have been selecting where magic users just don't equal out? You have Lufia, where magic is the most important thing in the game, to this game where magic's not anything. Like, what's the point of this?
Well, yeah, Paladin's Quest where magic takes your MP or HP.
Yeah, so like
that's always fun, but I don't know. They don't. I don't know. It's like it seems like all the RPGs we're playing, because RPGs is about the story, the turn based, and freaking magic. Why are we not getting the magic portion of our RPGs?
I get annoyed where enemies can do things to me that I don't have an option to. If you can do all this magic to me, freeze me, ice me, burn me. How come none of my members have at least one of those?
Exactly.
One of those. But
I get that we can't do all of them, but man, I should be able to do at least one.
Yeah, that's most RPGs. Like, at least someone does cold, someone does hot, maybe someone does lightning, something.
Or maybe one person does them all, but not very well or something, like Lulu from Final Fantasy X or something.
Yeah, give me a red mage. Yeah. But they did.
They give you no mage. I mean, give me a black mage, a white mage, or a red mage.
Like,
you get no mage.
To me, should have been a magic arrow shooter to me in that aspect.
She's basically a white mage for the most of it,
right?
She does
because for her, she would have been I guess she's a white mage. Then I would say Sogrith should have been earth or water. He's a water king. He should have had water.
Yeah, he should have had a strong water spell or a strong like earthquake spell or something. Mm-hmm. But he just had like a strong attack.
Yeah. So it's disappointing that it takes too long for magic, and I'm getting hit by magic all out of the blue and everything, and it annoyed me on this journey. That, like, I just hate the fact that, like, I'm not there yet. And it's like, it takes me 9 hours to finally get somebody that can use magic. Like, this was a struggle. So, is there anything else you want to add that you noticed in the game's story or the world itself?
I think we got this story so far. One aspect that I don't think we mentioned is, like, every time you get a gem, they send you back to your own world, I guess.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. So they say a limited time for about, an hour?
Something like that, yeah.
And if you don't get back, you get stuck in a limbo world, which the game forces you not to worry about that, right? Mm-hmm. You would think they would let you go.
I wanted just a morbid curiosity of what happens when you don't go back. But they don't even give it an option.
Yeah, so that's a little disappointing in its own way to me. I was very upset that they kind of took that away from you. And the fact that you have this mysterious voice talking to you. So it's like, is he following me? And don't you think it's weird that as a person joining the Traveler, that you just sit there and you have to wait for him? Like, Okay.
Yeah, they're just having a camp or something. I mean, they're making food. What are they doing? Playing on Game Boys?
I'm not gonna lie. I would have tried to jump in just to see what happens.
I'd have jumped in there with them. Like, what is this? What is this about?
Is that another human? Is that another you? Why's she sick?
I know you'd freak out the regular world with a big lizard-looking thing with an axe, but
that's true. That's true.
It'd still be funny.
Well, based on what the game is trying to show, they would say, "Hey, aren't you from the game Brave Story?" Since the kid was playing it, it's like, "Hey, you're that lizard." Like break the barrier rules of that.
The fourth wall bad, but yeah, that'd definitely be it.
That would be like hilarious.
But other than that, the story was nothing bad. It just wasn't great, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you heard a little jingle there. But yeah. The story is none to talk about, but I think that you're in it if you like the journey. And I like the scenery where I've been so far, from desert towns and all this stuff. Now,
I mean, for the last 2 games you played, Super Nintendo games?
Yeah.
I mean, we're at PSP. This is pretty much PS2 era stuff. So, yeah, it's a huge jump. It looks better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, I can agree with what you're saying. The environments aren't super bland or anything. They're actually pretty. I don't know the word for it, but they're something to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into the characters, because there's a lot of characters in this game. Some are guests, some of your mains and stuff like that.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have too much on that. I got like 7 characters.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. So we'll just go off of there. First, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Main character, don't like him.
Boring.
Don't like him.
He doesn't have a personality.
He's not likable. He's not likable.
He doesn't have a personality. He's just there. They
They
show him off as a slacker who don't care.
He's a terrible friend.
Yeah. Okay. That's the first thing you see about him. Hey, you never listen to me. Or you don't take the dog out. Yeah, I did. Or I do it after I play this round. And then the Miki girl is constantly talking to him. He's not saying nothing. He's just playing his game. So you already see he don't give a crap about his friends. So yeah, you pretty much don't like him. And then the rest of the time he's walking around just, I don't know anything. What's going on? He's just the worst, honestly. I think he's a bad character.
No, he was not likable. It was, luckily the other characters around him were kind of tolerable compared to that.
Yeah, then it was pretty much a carbon copy of Miki, I'm pretty sure.
It is, hands down.
But, she's the basic template of the Japanese characterizations of women. They're loud, kind of abrasive, but they're charming in their own way.
She kind of had a bit of, she's just very uppity. They always have an uppity character to help the silent protagonist, per se, right?
She has to be the voice of them, so.
Yeah, and I like for what she is, especially
she's not bad.
I love the fact that her family eats tuna.
And she's a cat. Yeah,
I know, that's just so funny.
That's the joke.
Yeah, that's fun. Actually, I really like the art design for her. I thought she was kind of cute for the way that they were making her. And I like the fact that she keeps kind of helping the story pushes forward because she's always ready for action. But it's funny because the main character feels like he's just not having a good time. He just sits there as a smile.
Yeah, he seems like that guy that just sits in the corner and doesn't talk to anybody. He's like an introvert bad, and to balance it out, they made Yuno an extrovert, and she loves to talk to people, loves to run out and do this and do that, while he rather just sit in the corner and play his game. That was just a counterbalance.
Can I say that the main character's outfit is like the worst outfit? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Is travelers' outfits have to look like that? I don't want to be a traveler.
I don't know what they were going for. It looks like he belongs on Final Fantasy X for the shorts, but then I don't know, a pirate ship that flies in the sky with his headgear, and I
feel like I'm playing make believe in my backyard.
Yeah, it's like if you ever play like some of these games where you needed a headpiece for this, and then you needed a chest piece for this, and then you needed another piece for this, but they're not the same set, so you look all crazy wearing all this stuff. It's exactly his outfit, but yet you can't really do anything about his default look. That's his default look, and he looks like somebody who needs all these extra points for having mismatched outfit, yet it's his normal outfit. What is wrong with that?
It is weird, dude. It is a weird outfit. And the main character in the anime one suit is not any better. Actually, it's better than this one, but it's not that better.
He looks like that one Magus sister that was like a what was she? She looked like a
was she the big one?
Yeah, she was the chubby one.
Oh, okay.
And she looks like a ladybug. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
That's what his helmet looks like a ladybug. Like he got these two side pieces that look like eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad.
Yeah.
And the character design is
also
terrible.
For the listeners. Normally we would talk about the cover of the game, but to be honest with you, the cover of the game is basically all the heroes on the cover of it, so it's not really worth talking about.
And then
So
story
yeah, there's not really any art design for that and whatnot. So what you saw on the cover is basically who you're all going to be on your journey. So getting that through. Let's talk about King Kenya.
King Kino is the lizard guy who looks like a. He's a lizard guy.
He's a big.
He's wearing a bandana, isn't he? I swear.
No. Maybe.
Or is that the other one?
No, you're right. He is wearing a bandana. Yeah.
I want to say he's wearing a bandana.
But he's wearing glasses
backpack.
too.
He definitely looks like a merchant. But
yes.
He's packing
a giant axe.
A giant axe, and he's pretty good as long in the party. But we get to that in the battle system. But he's pretty good in the party.
I like him. He was very likable. He's the one that started up where we talk about the battle systems later about the unity, you know, all that stuff. I really like his personality in that game, and it sucks that he's a guest character because he is one of the main characters in the anime movie and whatnot. So
that's why he's a guest character in this one.
Yes, and so later on he gets replaced by another person, Sogurth. And
Sogurth is just the same thing, but worse.
He's a meathead.
He's the same thing, but worse as far as like design and everything and the usability. Honestly, he's the same thing as Key, but worse. And then his personality, there's stark difference. But yeah, he's just a meathead.
Yeah.
Oh, smash, big rock, rah, rah.
Right.
That's pretty much all he is.
Like he'll say some interesting thing, but at the same time, he's really almost against everything Yuna wants to do, kind of thing. But at the same time, it's funny that like in his story, you save his kid, and then he goes in this mindset like, I gotta go with the Traveler. I'm like, oh, Father of the Year right there, guys. Father of the Year right there.
I was so going to say that. It's like, okay, you first meet his kid and he bumps into you. And then you see him come out to his kid and say, leave him alone or whatever. To try to show that he's a very, overbearing father character. Mm-hmm. And then you find and help his kid. All of a sudden he starts traveling with you. Like, wow, who's watching your kid now? How you going to help your kid out now when you're supposed to be overbearing if you're just going to run off with the Traveler at the first sign of getting the hell away from your own child? I mean, that just...
It's the sign, man. Maybe... And that right there doesn't give me a reason. Like, why would you go with him? Like...
Yeah, that goes back to our question. What are they getting out of this?
Yeah,
Because your kid was your entire personality. You just left that same kid. Now what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. They some of the story was probably well written, and then some of it, they were falling asleep and on like 3 pots of coffee, and they was like, just write it. I don't care. Yeah, just write it.
So other characters you meet that Brian didn't get a chance to meet. You do get to meet the original cast, as you saw Kina in this. You do get to meet the main character from the anime, Wataru and Mina. And those two characters, it's weird, right? Because this is where the game kind of has a loop or something like this. So in the story of the original movie, it's this kid that ends up going to that world to get his wish made to help save his mother from being sick. So here's this kid again coming back with my main character. And it's like, well, what's your mission? Because he's different. In the movie, he's a giant wuss. He's scared. He doesn't know what to do in this world. He's a scared guy. In this game, he's very confident. He's like, hey, yeah, it's such and such. Let me help you out. So, like, because he's at the borderline in this part. I don't know if you got close to the borderline after you saved that. They said you got to go to the border, and then you can't pass because you might have been framed for criminal-wise or something like that. But that's when they come up. And that's when you meet Kina again and his crew. And it's funny because it's like, okay, look, is either that he came back to this world for some reason to live here or something like that, or this is a revision of this character. I don't know, but it makes a huge gap in the story for me because, like, what does the anime have to do with this then? Because you way more mature than this.
Fan service?
I guess it's a bad fan the way they set it up, but he's very confident. He's likable. He's a very likable character. I like him. He knew what he was doing in the game. Kind of tells you, hey, do this and this, and he was powerful in the game.
So maybe they're suggesting that time has passed and he's grown into his own, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, but you would think in this game where like this is a one-time deal. Once you get your wish, you go back to the reality and you don't come back because the story was you're only here for like once in a while, and you never come back, kind of thing, right?
I guess it's different.
But Wataru broke that rule in that one. Other characters that you do meet, you meet people from one of the leaders from the Highlanders, which Highlander is an interesting name to name a group. You know.
There could only be one.
Well, in this case, they could be many.
That's the
and let's be honest,
that's the joke.
And what's funny is that the Highlanders to me in this game are not really that good. Because like you actually want to be a Highlander, but you have to be in groups of 3, right? Because when you go to the art fight,
I was about to say in there's like a when you go into certain town or most towns, all towns really, there's a what was it, a sword?
Say a guild. It's a guild.
It's like a guild, and you could join the guild, and I guess they give you hunts and some other stuff or whatever. But you have to be in groups of 3, which I didn't have 3 at the time when I went. So after Soulgraph or whatever, I guess I could have went, but. That's kind of where
I'm going to be honest with you. They don't really give you that much options.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like there's side quests in here, but I wasn't really looking for them. I didn't really care. They weren't interesting enough. But
I guess they're like very well respected mercenaries. You can call Highlanders.
Mm-hmm. But as Brian's looking at the footage, one of my favorite guests I had, his name is
Mitsuru.
Yeah, he's the only wizard I met in this game until I realized like still can't use magic. And I'm pretty sure you saw the gameplay that his magic is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What he has done. I'm like, I want that magic.
He can attack more than one person, which I always hate that in games where you can only attack one person.
Yeah.
All right, every character should have at least one attack that attacks everybody in the enemy party, or at least 2 or 3.
There is a move in this game when we get into the combat is they have section moves where like if they're in this section they get hit by it.
Yeah.
You get those kind of moves in this game too. But you get him. You get the last part I was at the end of my time was I got 2 guests at the same time join me. So here I am sitting with 6 people. And part of me, Brian, in this whole game was like, I know I'm going to sound savage for this. Is like, is there a way I can switch my main character out and get somebody else in there?
No.
Because,
Nope.
I know.
Many RPGs I play, well, I'm like, let me just get him out of there because he sucks.
Yeah, you're right. It's like, I feel like everybody's advanced, but my character's just not doing it well for me. Like, he can heal. I got 2 people that can heal better. I got this action move. These 2 can do it better. Like, can I just kind of squeeze him? He still get experience. He can still get experience. This, like, can I get 2 people? I'm sitting on 6. And I'm like, I don't know who to pick out of this. I don't know who to do on this adventure, and it kind of sucks. Oh, by the way, if your person dies in this game, it's the whole got to take it back to town thing. Anyways.
Yeah, I think, I died doing a story part, my main character, because he sucks. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he died doing kind of a story part, so when I got him, control him again, he was already full health and everything, so.
Yeah. And, It's interesting too because the fact that like first of all, if you're an RPG person, you really don't want to stay at an inn if you can't handle it because it's like they get more expensive as you go. So like if there's any way I can heal myself without going to an inn and pay some, but I had to use the inn a couple of times in this game just to kind of help get through some stuff because I didn't want to use my camp.
Yeah.
In case of like an emergency or something like that. But at the same time, I swear, every RPG game, I end up not using the camps. So like, maybe I should just use them. Because I say I'm not going to use them until they're important, but
I don't. I only really use them is mainly when I'm grinding, which I do in every freaking game. But I don't want to use my heal potions because I'm not actually progressing the story at this time. So I just go out, fight until my characters are real low because the sad reality of every RPG is every fight you're going to lose health. No matter how well you do in the fight, you're going to lose health. So after fighting like 5 or 6 battles, I go to town and go to an inn and then go back and do it again. Mm-hmm. That's generally how I use the inns. But
overall, the cast is interesting, but this game actually really showed me that I prefer main characters to talk more than silence now.
The silent protagonist.
Yeah, I like them to interact with the other characters for that because they rely too much on the characters to kind of carry him through, and with the choices don't mean anything in this game particularly, it's kind of pointless because there's some parts, Brian, you feel like I wish my character said something right here, but he doesn't. And it kind of sucks, especially if your character says something stupid. The Waka moments. Don't go down that rabbit hole too deep, but the Waka moment, when Waka from Final Fantasy X talks smack to you, you really want to say something, but he doesn't.
I love how you said Waka talks smack to you. It's everything Waka did. Just him walking in the frame was enough to piss me off.
The Waka. But yeah, I think the characters were fine. I just wish my main character talked a little bit more because maybe he could have had a chance to kind of open his character up more. Like, okay, you're not a jerk as I thought you were. But here, he's always going to leave a mark of like, I don't like you.
I think it's a double-edged sword though with that whole character versus silent protagonist one. It's like, yes, it'd flesh out the character more if they talked, but on the other hand, if your character is an asshole, you can't fix that. And then he starts talking and you just hate them. And there was a game I played that was like that, and I cannot think of it right now, but I just, every time my character opens his mouth, I just wanted to die inside. Like, oh my God. But then the silent protagonist is just there not doing anything, and it's like, I wish you would say something. I wish you would react to this giant meteor coming towards the Earth right now that's about to kill us all. Why are you not saying anything?
Yeah, it is double sword, but if I had to choose, I'd rather bite the bullet and deal with the talking person that might be annoying than silence and I don't say anything. It's kind of like the Link. Like, you know, Link from Zelda. Look, Link is a boring character.
He needs to speak up.
Yeah, he's a boring character.
He's the one. Yeah, I'll give you that. He needs to talk. I don't care if he is just a jerk. I want him to say something at some point.
Yeah. So, with that being said, let's get into the meat of the game, as we call the combat system, of course. And this is where it all comes down. But how's the combat? You know, I don't care about the story or anything like that. How's the combat? The combat's interesting. I like the little things that they do in this game. So, first of all, let's talk about the little things first. So first of all, I like the comic book attack effects. So when you slash somebody, you see
zinc and
zoink
and all
I like that.
It gives it a little personality versus just this box standard. Oh, you just attacked them, or the little, I don't know. They usually use like a little star thing with yellow to indicate like a bullet shot or something. And this one just use like the exclamations or whatever.
Have you played Valkyrie Chronicles?
Yes.
Okay. It's kind of like that, right? For the listeners too. So
zoink, splash, hit, whatever like that. Yeah. It gives it a little personality. I like that.
So the battle system is really simple for people. It's a traditional turn-based. You know, you select a move and everything. It's the little things they added into it. Now, my golden rule is if you're going to do a traditional RPG with a traditional battle system, you got to do some little extra to make yourself stand out.
Yep.
And that extra is the extra hits when you down a weak enemy.
Literally extra.
And I like that. I like it came out of nowhere. Did it surprise you when you first started? You're like,
did.
What did this come from?
So basically, what he's saying is, it's you're attacking, and I guess there's like in the background there's a dice being rolled, and what number you get on the dice, it tells you if you're going to get an extra hit or not. So you do your regular attack. Your character does 110 damage every time. He does 110 damage. You just hit the jackpot. Here's an extra attack. And then he attacks again. So you get an extra damage just luck, I guess. I guess if your luck skill is higher, then you do it better.
So check this out. I thought that was it. And then I talked to a villager. And if you go to one of the guilds, hey, you have any questions about A, B, and C? So I went to him and I asked him, how did you get the extra hit? He said that if you knock out an enemy that is weak or about to die, you get the extra hit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So say that you slash somebody. Let's say you and your party aim at the same person. That first person hits him. He's weak. The next person that hits automatically gets a random hit to the next thing.
Very nice.
That's why if you look at your enemies, they kind of look like worried, like they're about to
It's kind of like the overkill mechanic.
Yeah, so if you hit them at the right time, what character does it, they get the extra hit to the next character.
So you've been grinding like I did, and you know that it takes 2 hits to kill something. So you do a hit with the weaker character, and then your very next character, because he already got hit, he will definitely get an extra attack because the second hit will kill him.
Yeah, if you do it right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess what came out of nowhere, because it went in slow motion. That's what it came out of nowhere. It's like, boom, and it's like, and it's like,
almost,
what?
I swear it has like a comic effect. It's like, you go and you attack, and then it's like the page turns, and then you do another attack.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing with the zoink and all that stuff, the exclamations when you attack. It does the same thing. It's like, and then it switches. And then it does a slow motion thing to give it more gravity to the situation. It's like, if I'm attacking slower, I'm attacking harder.
Yeah.
So,
it made me feel, I'm not gonna maybe for warm and fuzzy. I'm like, okay, I'm liking this battle system so far. Because it's like, that's a nice little thing, you know?
Another thing they do in the battle system that it's more normal now, but back in the Super Nintendo era and stuff, they give you a defend option. A lot of the old RPGs didn't give you that option. It was like attack, magic, item. That's it. This one gives you pretty much all of that, but it also gives you a defend option. So if you know that they're attacking your weak character like they do in every freaking RPG, then you could just have her defend while your other two, if you have to, or the other one does the bigger attacks. So you can protect him a little bit because they do like half damage.
How does that work? I only got that twice in my 9 hours. That ever happened to me. Twice that someone steps in the way to protect the other character.
Yeah, not very often.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That's why I just put them in defend though, and they do like half damage.
Oh, you're talking about just putting on defense.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, so have you never got the part where like one person attack and one of your characters steps in front of one of your teammates to take the bullet?
I've seen it.
Yeah. How often did you get that?
Like twice.
Yeah. I wish.
I don't know. I get maybe they got that affinity thing. Like I know some games got where the more you work with them, the bigger you like them bar works. So then they might protect them. But I don't know if that's what it is. Mm-hmm. But I would assume it'd be something like that. So you keep your main character who you want to switch out.
So
in the party with another character that you really like, then they have built up in natural affinity. So now they start blocking for each other more often. That's what I think, but I don't know.
So what makes this game really awesome? And a lot of RPGs don't do that. Brian, I know you will agree with me 100%.
Unity.
No, not the Unity.
Really?
Not the Unity. No. That's up there. But this one, I think, takes the cake at all. The fact that most RPGs don't do this because they wait till the battle's over, but you can level up and get stuff while you're in the middle of a battle.
Oh.
So, because
I've only done it like once though. That's why I didn't.
No, you tell me like during battles you didn't level up mid battle, like someone leveled up while you're still in a battle fight.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't really get. I never got anything during that. But I did level up, and it was just like, okay, you leveled up. I was like, all right. But one is like, you leveled up. Oh, you got this now. I was like, oh, let me use it. I only have it once.
Okay, I got that a couple of times. I just like the fact that you get the level up because you get maybe you get a little extra power. You know, especially in the boss fight. If you can get while you're hitting these side enemies or something like that during a boss fight, you get a chance to level up a bit more, and that could be a little saving grace right there. You know. Now I wish that it fills up your health and your BP while you level up.
It does not, and that sucks. Like,
yeah.
I would level up and then you get full health and full BP, which is like MP. But yeah,
I do like the fact that you do level up during your fights and stuff like that
instead of just waiting until after.
Yeah, I do like that. Now
it's kind of either or to me. It doesn't really matter.
Now let's talk about the Chrono Trigger in this game. So the only reason I have Chrono Trigger because it's probably the most infamous and most famous thing that you can compare it to, and that is of course what you were talking about, the Unity system, where you can you get two people to work together to do a cool move. Now that also came out of nowhere, right? Yeah. Right. Especially like, you know, you get these two characters to do combos. Like some did pretty well, some of them were okay, and some of them were kind of like, why are these two getting it this way? Like, I understand that like Surgreth and your main character have more of like build the defense and all this stuff, but I wish that could have been sacrificed for more group attacks, because the only one you really get is like the bug swamp. You know, you just swamp bugs, but everything else is kind of like And then Eunice is okay.
Eunice is just you steal. With Tatsuya and Yuno, you get a chance to steal from the characters. Yeah. Which I thought was because you can also, it's called it, you bungled the steal or whatever. And I thought that was because I had to press a button, but it actually isn't, because I sat there and tested it. Because I'd run up on them, and then the game would stop for a second, and then Yuno would steal, and then Tatsuya would attack. So I thought that maybe I had to press a button, but it's not. It's just... Yeah,
it's not quick time event or anything like that. It's random.
But it seemed just a waste of time. Wow. Key, which is why I love him so much, got a... He got the little tornado fish attack, and it attacked everything on the screen.
Yes.
And it is usually really powerful at the time, and I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
And I hated when he left.
Yeah, especially helped in the water temple, per se.
Oh, he smashed all the fish.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about the enemies. The enemies were a big showcase in this game, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
I had a lot of enemies.
We'll talk. I think enemies really sold the show for this game. But anyways, but the combos work pretty well for what they is. I did like the little setup. Like, they kind of get their moment. They all get together and they like power up together, or they do something together to kind of form the move they're going to do and whatnot. Especially later on with other characters that you join.
It costs BP to use, or MP.
So for BP, it is basically your MP or whatever your base power to do these super moves. And you build that up like the Tail series, where the more you hit, it builds up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's another thing cool about it, is you build up as you're still fighting. So you use those to be sacrificed to use for your Unity or your special magic yourself, or your special abilities yourself.
It's kind of like they did that to either like not have so much downtime, like I have to waste a turn using a magic potion to refill my magic. Instead, you just keep attacking. So you attack, do a bravura attack. You attack, do a bravura attack. You can just keep going like that, and you will never run out of MP, I guess you would call it.
Do you get points when you're hit too? Like if they hit you, do you get a build up too?
No.
Okay.
You only get it when you attack them.
Yeah, and then that extra hit really helps too.
An extra hit gives you more, and if it says critical, it gives you more as well. Mm-hmm. So what sucks about the Unity attack, though, is it costs a certain amount of BP to use a Unity attack, but it costs it for both of your characters.
Yes.
So if say you do Steel with Tatsuya, and then you do Steel with Yuno, y'all both are using Steel, so now you lose like 40 or no 20, because it costs 10 to use Steel. So Tatsuya runs out there and he does a Steel move. He lost 10. Yuno lost 10. And then the next attack, Yuno runs out there and does the same thing. You both lose 10 more.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks, but I figure only one of them will lose it, or it'd be not so much or something, but I don't know.
Part of me wish there was a trio Unity where later on, like, I hang out with these three so long that I wish that they would have a trilogy move together, just one. I'm not asking for a lot, like just one.
Yeah, if they did one, group of three move, that'd be nice. And then, I mean, they could take 20 for each. I would still use it. 20 for every character.
Yeah. I'm trying to see, what else did I write in my notes? Yeah, game P after every kill. Yeah, it reminds me of Tails. I think another one is, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Okay, so if it wasn't for all this kind of stuff, I think the battle system would be really boring if they didn't have these ideas in it.
Yeah, if he was just attacking back and forth, even with the extra attack, it would get pretty boring.
Yeah, regardless of how colorful it looked and how cool it looked and all that, I feel like it would have been a boring battle system in general. So I'm glad.
Standard, nothing special.
So let's talk about the enemies. I think the enemies are the star of this show, only because whatever you can do, they can do it too. I don't know you, Brian, but it threw me off when a bunny came up to me and did a drop kick to me for an extra. And the Unity of a bird picking up a rabbit and dropping on my head. Or the bees that could do a swarm to you. Did you run into that?
Did you watch the rabbit eat the carrot for extra?
Yes.
That made me laugh.
Yes. Yes.
It was like, I'm hungry. Nom, 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 and he got HP back. I was like, what? And then it hits you with that said carrot it just chewed from. Like, you don't beat me with a half-chewed carrot.
Dude, tell me you did not get karate kicked by the rabbit. And it was in slow motion. They get a slow motion like, bam!
That's insult to injury, too. It's like, are you serious right now? Boom, right to the face.
Yeah, but when they do the Unity moves, too, that blew my mind. They're like, they can do Unity moves, too? Like a bird picked up a bunny one time and dropped him on my head, and he kicked me in the face. Or the bees, they do a swarm. They all surround you and just sting you to death. I'm like, I didn't know they can do that. Oh, yeah. That's crazy. But
it evens the playing field, and it's unlike we were talking about the other games where they can do stuff that I can't do. But it seems like we're all just doing the same stuff, which makes it feel better. Versus he can do water and wind and earth, and I can do nothing. And that annoys me.
And then the biggest one is the crazy mode, where one creature out of that group can just go crazy and turn mega big. You remember those?
I don't know if I saw.
You saw in the water temple, like one of those lizards just turns big.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So they turn big, so they get extra, like they get extra like defense or something like that. And you have to beat them down, and it comes out of nowhere. And it's like, what?
That might be like the theme for this game. Is just it just throws stuff at you. They're like, wait a minute, I didn't even know you could do that. Wait a minute, and you 2-3 hours in the game, and they're still showing you stuff that you didn't know that they could do.
Yeah, the game did a good job with surprises, but I think the enemies surprised me even more because there's some of the ideas that do. Sometimes I think the enemies had a better advantage than you in some of these fights because they get more chances of doing like all attacks per se compared to like we don't really get that like. Without the unity, there's not really a single person that can do an all attack move per se, right? For your main party. You know what I mean?
I think one to somebody. No.
Can you think of one? I can't think of one.
I swear Tatsu has, this might be his second gym or whatever, but he can do a move that attacks, I think, at least 2 people.
Okay, like in sections? Was it cut like in a section or something like that?
I don't know. It's
okay.
2 people standing next to each other, and he can hit them both.
Okay.
It might be all, but I don't know.
Well,
but I think that's it.
Well, based on my experience, I haven't really can't think of one. But when it comes to the boss fights were a little boring. Sure, they were challenging, but they were just kind of boring in there. And what annoyed me about this game is that here I am with this party traveling around, but every boss fight I've been into, I never got to fight fully with my group. If you fought the first creature, Yuno was knocked out. It was you and Sogret.
Yeah, Yuno was knocked out.
Yeah. And then in the next fight, which, Brian, I think this would have broke the game for you. Like, you were like, I'm done. It's this one mission where you're in the borderline. You're at this border. And Sogret and Yuno get accused for a crime they didn't do. They got framed. Mm-hmm. So until they figured it out, they had to keep them captive. So that put me and the other chosen one, Wataru and Mina, to go find out where these crooks are. So they're up in this mountain, and we find them, and there are a bunch of bandits that look just like Yuno and Sogret. So I beat them, right? Then another crew comes, looked exactly like Yuno and Sogret. And they're like, oh, what you doing to our friends? So like, okay, so you find out like, okay, so there's 2 groups of these. I beat them. Another group came, looks just like them. I had to fight 4 of them.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to fight 4 battles back to back to back. And that almost ruined the game for me. Because I was like, this is stupid. This is the stupidest fight I have ever like done. And I have the scene. I could probably show you the scene. Hopefully I think I have it. But
did you have anybody get a heal?
Yes. That would be Mina. Mina was our healer. Yeah. Yeah. She was the cat girl. Yeah. But the situation was that just fighting those same characters over and over got annoying. And if anybody knows in any RPG game, if you have not played an RPG game and know this golden rule, you need to learn this now. The number one thing in a JRPG is when you fight a group of people, you take out the healer first. No matter what.
Auto magic caster, really?
Yeah, you take out anybody that can do magic first and then deal with the muscle head. And that's what it was. It was this again, and she kept healing the partner, so I had to kill her off. I basically did cut and paste 4 times in the fight, and it annoyed me. But where I'm getting at is, here I am doing another epic boss fight without my 2 characters that I'm supposed to be with. So I'm going through this journey, and I'm not really sitting with. Here I am on this journey with these people, but I cannot even get them in a party to fight a major battle yet, and it kind of annoys the hell out of me at that.
Oh yeah, that sounds like crap.
Yeah, so that kind of put a damper on my step right there.
I figured they would only done it with that one battle, but I guess they do whatever. That's
now
bad.
also too. There's mimics, and if anybody knows, I personally hate mimics in RPG games. Why? Because mimics don't die quick enough, and they hit 10 times harder. Okay? I hate mimics. Just putting that out there. And they take the longest to fight. So
mimics are monsters that are monsters that look like chess.
Yes.
And they're usually pretty strong.
Yes.
They even got those in Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm. Random counters are okay, but it starts picking up a little bit faster on the halfway through my game. Yeah,
that's the.
It started slow at the beginning, then it started picking up too quick.
That's the thing I always hate is random battles, because it feels like when you're really really trying to get somewhere, it's bad, but then when you're actually trying to grind like I do, then you can never find a battle. And that annoys the crap out of me. Mm-hmm. Like it reads my thoughts. Like I'm trying to get somewhere, I ain't got time for this, and then it's over and over and over again. And then, well, it comes down to that one game we just played where I swear I used a thing that says the battles won't occur, and they still occurred. Mm-hmm. That's going to go in my deal of stupid games when items don't even do what they say they do.
I think I think they said in the game you can do this. I just didn't know how to do it or not. Switch members in your party, and I thought you could do that in the battle itself, but maybe I misread that. But this game needed that.
Yeah, I think
this game needed the FF10 of switching members.
Say, how many battles or how many games do they allow you to switch members in mid battle?
That's what I'm talking about. I wish that was granted before. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I can only think of one, but that game was just too accessible. That's Final Fantasy X. You could switch. Not only could you switch members, you could switch weapons and the armor. You could switch everything mid battle. Like, I mean, how many RPGs have you ever played where you say you were grinding? Well, this may be me. I don't know how many people love the grind, but I do. And I have a weapon and like an armor set that I use just for grinding. And then I have my stronger, more powerful version I use for battles. How many times have you just was playing and grinding and then you went and fought a boss like, oh, I didn't equip my good stuff, so now you're screwed. Versus Final Fantasy X, I didn't equip my good stuff. Well, let me just change it real fast. Mm-hmm. And what's even worse about it is you almost never lose a turn doing that. Like, in Final Fantasy X, it would show you, who's next. And as soon as you click on it, it'd just move your character still in front of the enemy. I'm like, okay, this game's way too accessible.
Yeah, but I think this game, though, would help out if you can switch people. Yeah, I think this game, especially with the guests and everything like that, especially if you down a character. Because this game, it gets a little bit challenging. I'm not going to lie. Because now, since it's an even playing field for your enemies, I mean, switching out would kind of be really helpful. Shout out to the wizard enemies. Or the enemies with the hats, they come hard. And when I mean hard, they charge at you, and they make the sound effects really hard. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they like football field hit you. Like they come in hard. I'm like, okay, all right. So, but overall, the battle system is fine. I do like the little extra stuff in there for what it is. I feel like they could have done a little bit more. Yes, to your main character. Your main character should do a little bit more. If I have those gems, I should have magic or something for each gem. Each gem, Brian, should be a super move. Why don't most RPGs do that? Like when you beat a boss or you collect something, you get a special move with it. In this game, you don't get that.
Like an overdrive or something.
Yeah. Yeah, these are gems. Why am I collecting gems? They should be something special, right? And let me tell you, at the border, guess what? I have the border. After I beat that mission with all the people that were disguising as Sogred and Yuna, someone comes up with a bag like, hey, we have a bag full of gems. Like, pick one. So I pick one and I move on. And I'm like, couldn't I just beat the game if you gave me the whole bag? That's pretty stupid. It's like, that's so weird to me, Brian. That's so weird to me. I don't
know. Some of these RPGs we play, I prefer to just throwing stuff at the wall and see which one sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything you want to add to?
I pretty much enjoyed the battle system.
You liked it?
A lot.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I'm comparing it to the last two games we played. But,
yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the battle system.
Okay. All right. So let's go to progression and grinding. So Brian, it seems like you did more grinding than traveling because in my 9 hours, I got pretty far. You kind of wanted to get prep for the big journey.
Yeah, which I got to stop doing, but
yeah. So, how was your grinding?
The grinding is not completely awful, but and I think I said this earlier, but in order to get money, you don't just naturally gain it by doing more battles. You have to get stuff from the enemies you fight and then sell it, and that's how you get money. And that was just an extra step. Like you should just cut out the middleman. And that made it a bit annoying, but I still wanted this equipment, so I did it anyway. But yeah, it was, and it's not like the turnaround for some of the stuff that you sell is even great. Like most of the time for fighting for 5 minutes, I'd probably get 25 Tims. That was it, which is the goat. Tims is the goat. But yeah, I'd get like 25, which is terrible. I mean, I know games where I'd fight and just naturally get gold, and I'm getting 100 to 200 each battle. So, and it was a little much, but it wasn't completely terrible. The progression's okay. I mean, you don't feel, if you went to the story straight, because I didn't grind completely at first, but if you went straight to the story, I don't think it just becomes overwhelming real fast or anything. Like some of the older games where boom, boom, you're dead because you stepped out of this or whatever. I feel like they keep it, kind of to your level. so you don't feel like you're being overpowered. And then even when you level up, you don't completely become overpowered there either. I wasn't just slaughtering people just yet. So maybe they have like a little bit of scaling in there. I don't know.
I like the pace of the progression. I like the fact within my 9 hours that I managed to make it to, level 20. And I felt like I got on a journey. I mean, I went through the forest. I went through a desert. I went through all this different stuff and introduced, like I said at the beginning, I met like a lot of characters. The grind for me, I didn't have to grind too much on it because my grind was getting lost in the dungeons. That's my grind. Because when you get lost, by the time you finish, you should be leveled up pretty high.
Yeah.
By the time you find it.
I've been there.
I agree with your thoughts about getting materials to sell. I wish it was both. I wish you got money and materials so you can sell and get extra stuff. Because let's be honest here, I end up selling any armor or weapons I have because you're not going to get anything about it. Because one of the main things too is you can't rely on your weapons. You rely on your accessory that are rings with the diagrams. So you buy these diagrams and you craft these weapons to make yourself more powerful. You want to be stronger? You got to equip might rings that you have to find a diagram for. You want to be a little bit quicker? You got to get agility rings. All these necklaces to make yourself a little bit more powerful. Did you manage to take advantage of that?
No, but it's mainly because I have a stance against crafting systems like that.
Okay.
It seems like another middleman thing. Okay, you need to craft this. You need the diagram or the blueprint or whatever game name they're using in this game. Then you need the materials as well. It's like, so I need to find a blueprint. Then I need to find the materials. And if you're looking for the real good stuff, it's gonna be hell trying to find both of that. So now you got to find this legendary blueprint, which is freaking buried deep within the game. Then you got to get these legendary items, which can only be like gained by beating the hardest boss in the game or something like that. So it's like it's too much stuff just to get this thing. I have to go to the west side village to get the blueprint. Then I got to go to the east side village to get one part of this item, and then north to get another part, and then the south to get the last part. It's like that's stupid. I would just either find it or
just buy it.
Or just go to, different towns have different, like say blacksmiths who will allow you to do it there. Mm-hmm. Instead of having to find a blueprint, they already have it. So all you have to do is go to, I remember he was selling this special silver sword at the west side town. So let me just go there and see what he needs versus, I got to find a blueprint and the materials, then take it to the blacksmith. It just seems stupid to me. And this is not the only game that does that. So
it's too many accessory slots. Like you have 3 slots
for
these, and I was like, do you really need 3?
Well, it depends on how good the accessory are. Because I play many games where it's like I don't have enough slots.
Okay, I'll give you that. But then it should equal out, right? Like,
yeah,
the strength ring should be enough where I need 1.
I don't know. Maybe you got further, you had better rings, but I got a strength ring. It was slightly, which means 1.
Yeah, that's why if you equip 3 of them, then it's like it's okay.
Now I got 3. Woo! But all my slots are gone.
Yeah.
Why don't I have
There's different levels. There's different levels too. Like you have the strength one, then there's a level 2 strength one, and a level 3.
I'm sure there was, but man, it's kind of.
But it wasn't like I was looking for them. They're in chests. If you care to go out the way to look for these chests,
I found some.
Mm-hmm. But my grind was really just kind of just getting through it. I think really honestly, tell you the truth, the boss fights are not as hard as the enemies sometimes because like as it gets harder, having more little enemies hurt you more than the other way around because the reason why I brought that up is because Brian, I don't think I ever had any moves where I can affect people other than paralyze and poison. Like they can paralyze you, they can confuse you. I've been confused, and confused sucks, of course, because like nothing's worse than being super powerful and then your person's confused and he can kill you in 1 hit. That sucks.
It just reminds me of fighting a Marlboro on Final Fantasy. I always remember that.
Yeah. So that sucks for this game. But luckily in this game, it does attack enemies or it attacks you, not just you. But my grind, like I said, wasn't too bad. I think later on, while you're going, you actually start leveling up really quick because these enemies drop some pretty good experience halfway during my journey. And I was like, good. That's why I ended up being level like 24. But, whew, they will get overwhelming. And they kind of get better setups than you sometimes.
So how many enemies did you ever see on screen at one
3.
time? 3?
No, 4. Because there was the bees. Bees came in 4, I think.
Okay. That's not terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the general template for RPGs almost always been 3 or 4.
Unless you're playing Lufia.
Yeah.
You get like 6 of them.
No, I mean, like, for your side. Like, your side, you only have 3 characters or sometimes 4. I swear Final Fantasy IX was 4, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that's it. I've never seen one that has like 6 or 7 characters you can choose at once. That'd be crazy. But yeah, enemies, man, I've seen enemies from 1, 2 to 10.
I've never been a big fan of that. I feel like it should be matching field. Like, if I have 3, then you should only have 3.
And you would just have to make your enemies more technical so where it doesn't feel like they have to be overwhelming or whatever. Instead of putting 15 bees with 2 hit points, just put 2 would have like 10 or something.
You know what I wish? And RPGs do this, and I wish this game did it too. So you have all the guests, right? I wish guests were in reserve until you do a special move of bringing a guest in. And when I say that is because in every RPG game, some enemy knows how to call a friend.
That sounds like a summon.
They do. No, they call a friend. They're like, they whistle, and another one just pops up out of nowhere.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Didn't the wolves do that? And the little fish?
Yes.
They're like, call for backup or something.
Yes.
I'm like, what is this mess?
Yeah, so if I lose an enemy, if my person dies, gets knocked out, I should be able to call a friend. It's like, and that would be my guest lineup. Bring King Kia back. Like, King Kia, you're my guest. Now, would I sacrifice Soul Growth every time? Yes. But I'm saying I like that option.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's not the only RPG that does it. There's plenty of RPGs that freaking recall people.
We need that ability.
And they never have that. I mean, I guess they call it Phoenix Down or whatever because you could bring your people back. But, I mean, yeah, I think that would be a good idea because that's crap. It's like it feels like you're not making any progress in the battle. Especially if you fighting like 4 the same enemy, you kill the first 3, and then the first one calls somebody else back, and then you hit him, but you don't kill him, and the second one calls somebody else back.
And know it's pre-rendered. You know the moment they started to fight, one of them was going to call a friend. It's just to see how many you can knock out before it happens. And then what did they say when it's all full? They're like, friend didn't come. Well, yeah, there's no rue. You jerks.
So you've been fighting for 15 minutes. 4 the same enemies, and they can all call back up.
That actually, no lie. There was one fight I was in it for because an average fight in this game is about maybe 45 seconds to a minute, depending where it goes. I was in a fight for about 2 or 3 minutes because someone kept calling a friend, and they were strong. So I hit one. It takes 2 hits. So by the time it's 2 hits, that person's already calling another friend.
See, if they want to have that in it where they can call friends, then they need to have it to where you can attack more than one enemy.
Yeah.
That would be able to settle that issue.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't.
No.
I mean, almost every RPG that starts in the beginning, you can only attack one person at a time. But they can always attack your entire party.
Okay. How do you feel about the music?
The music? It was fine. It didn't move me very much. I
can't think of any memorable ones.
It's because it didn't really have any.
Yeah, it was kind of just there and whatnot.
Music it was fine.
The battle music wasn't anything special?
No, it was not.
No.
There's not really any battle music that was just super great outside of Final Fantasy. Besides a game called Shadow Hearts 2. I'm in love with that battle music. I was listening to it at the gym. That's how good it was. But yeah, I mean, the battle music was nothing to write home about. The dungeon music was nothing to write home about. I mean, the music was just there. Some music enhances the gameplay. Some music is just ambiotic. It's there to fill the dead air. That's about it. And that's what it felt like in this game. It was there. It was fine. If it wasn't there, you'd notice because it would be silent. But if, it's not anything you'd remember. So I hear it. It's there. And I'm glad it's there because at least it's filling the dead air. But it's not like I'm jamming to it or anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I felt about it. It was there. That's fine.
Okay, so with that, I think what's left is to kind of wrap it up and give our full thoughts about it.
The quote that I found.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the most important thing, and we gotta do our reviews. Man, I'm behind. All right, so
I didn't forget that either.
Thank you. That's
That's
why you're the second member of the party.
The quote for me was "Bring on the birds." If you wanted to fight. If you wanted to fight a bird or do a bird fight, you go into town, you find the guy with the bird next to him, and in order to do the bird fight, you have to go up to him and say, "Bring on the birds." And that just sounds like me ordering chicken tenders. And I thought it was funny.
I couldn't find a quote on this one, actually.
Bring on the birds.
I couldn't find a quote on this one. I was too busy trying to figure out where this game was going. I'm trying to think what one would be one that would be
That's
memorable.
it sounds like ordering chicken nuggets.
That's the one.
Birds.
That's the number one.
That's it.
Okay. All right. So I lose a point for that because I didn't have my quote, you know. But then again, you didn't have a. I don't think you had a quote for the Brave Story one.
I don't have
not Brave Story, but Lufia.
Well, Lufia sucked. That's one.
Sucky ones can have memorable lines.
That is true, but where are the reviews? I'm curious. I thought it was pretty play. Wait, PlayStation 2?
Say what?
It was on PlayStation 2?
No, just portable.
They must have been talking about this came out.
Oh no,
Grave Story, My Dreams, Wishes, and Sun.
Yeah, that's a different one, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So, there's not too much on the reviews.
It got Famitsu.
Yeah, that's the
scored
Japanese.
3/8 out of 9. 3/8 out of 1. Not ooh. Okay, 33 out of 40.
Yeah. Let me see here for us here. Hang on.
I'm gonna look for what people actually said. Like, this game brings you back to a time when you were just a young man and finding out about RPGs and all that stuff. Versus, it's a 4 out of 5, a 5 out of 6. Well, why? Oh, IGN, I don't trust them.
But
I know
we're doing a little bit of everything. So they said that for what they reviewed it at the time, they said there's nothing wrong with Brave Story. It's a solid RPG game that sure is appealed to fans who wants a fun yet simple romp through the genre they love. However, Brave Story lacks the ingenuity to make it something I play for hours on end after a set of exact same events, random battles, dungeons, random battle boss. I was rolling my eyes and ready to power down the PSP. So
basically, he was saying it doesn't lack anything that brings anything new to the table. That's what is keeping him from playing it. And I don't agree. There were some things that I thought was very clever about it, like the extra hits and the unity attacks and this and that. But of course, other RPGs have did something similar, maybe not the same name, but the repetitiveness, yeah, I can see that. But a lot of the old RPGs, especially the traditional turn-based ones, can get repetitive.
Yeah, and these are reviews basically based on at the time. So we're taking it as us playing it now, how we feel about it to that point, right? Did it rock?
Yeah.
And but
that's what it sounds like to him, though. It sounds like they're taking it from today to be that critical of it being repetitive. Because man, we could look through the Nintendo catalog. Half of them games were repetitive as crap. Mm-hmm. So it seems like he's doing one from this year, but not being in the time with it. I mean, one guy right there, that's 2014. That's old. All right, that's newer.
Yeah, so let's go a little bit further. Let's go with something from Let's go with 1UP. That's a popular one. So Brave Story is comfortably familiar type of RPG that still feels fresh thanks to the strength of its characterizations, the attention to detail, the swift pace of battle and quest, and the technological persistency, whatever, of its load times. Load times is interesting, he said, because I don't really notice the load times. I thought it went pretty quick.
I've been playing PS5, so load times are a thing of the past. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really know. And okay, so coming from me who's been playing a PS5, yeah, I didn't really notice load times either. They were snappy.
Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't. Well, now he gave it a 90. I don't. But that's another story.
All right, let's go. IGN. Wait.
We already did IGN.
We already said that one.
We're going to go back and we're going to say some negatives and we're going to say some positive ones.
Let's go with the Video Game Talk, which gave it a 40. It is a very standard RPG and gets repetitive with a generic combat system. The dungeons are similar from dungeon to dungeon. There is no puzzles or complex tasks.
I agree that all the dungeons kind of are all the same, just a different skin on it. I will agree with that. No puzzles. This game doesn't need puzzles. It didn't need it.
I mean, most... Even if RPGs have puzzles, some of them don't add to the goodness of the game, I guess you'd call it.
And I don't like puzzles when I'm in a random battle. Like, if I'm being randomly attacked while I'm trying to figure out a puzzle, that's annoying. I don't want to do that.
And that's where there's something. You could grind on accident doing that because, I know Shadow Hearts was a game like that. Or not Shadow Hearts, but Legend of Guy. I was running around a dungeon, not knowing what to do, and every 2 seconds is a battle. I started running out of items and everything, trying to do a puzzle. So puzzles don't always add positively to the gameplay experience. So I don't agree with that at all.
Hardcore Gamer. It's a perfect PSP purchase for RPG fans and a great way for genre newcomers to get their feet wet. I disagree with that because just the fact at the beginning, if you don't understand what they were trying to do, you can easily walk in very confused. Now, if you want to take the game for what it is, that's fine.
What?
So what?
Such as what?
The anime. Like, you're going in to play this game, but if you're not understanding where it's coming from, you can meet a lot of characters that you didn't know where they were from. You think they're in-game, but they're more to it.
I don't agree. It didn't seem. I never watched RPG, but it just seemed like a new game I was playing.
But for newcomers,
yeah, for newcomers, I was a newcomer to this game. I've never seen anime, so it just seemed like it was a different fantasy world that they created. I've played many RPGs. I haven't watched anime. I've watched Tales of Berseria, but I still find it enjoyable. But
that was a game first before anime, anyways. But for this one, I'm saying that to understand the world and understand what these travelers are doing, the anime kind of would probably help that. Because like you said at the beginning, there's some questions like, why are there other travelers? Why is this and this?
I don't think it takes away from the game, though.
You don't think so? Okay.
I mean, some games don't have anything to go off of.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this particularly. Not most RPGs don't have an anime show based off of or trying to connect it in some way, I guess.
And you still got to figure out the world. So that's why I said I don't think it takes super away from it.
Okay.
I wasn't like, oh my God, I guess I need to go back and do some rereading before I can figure this out. It was fine. It explained enough to keep me going.
Okay. RPG fan. While it may be a little easy and a little childish, Brave Story New Travelers RPG that will appeal to an incredible wide audience and one of the first titles to truly take advantage of the handheld hardware Sony has provided.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a wider audience. I think handhelds at the time was very small still to that time.
Well, it was PSP and DS and Game Boy Advance at the time. So,
and plus, I think the Nintendo product was a bigger, wider audience compared to the PSP at that time.
Always been. So Game Boys to DSs, Nintendo's always freaking had that covered.
Also, too, like I said at the beginning, Brave Story was not marketed very well, so I don't think it would hit a wider audience.
Brave Story, and I was thinking Bravely Default. I was like, I've seen it, but I don't want to play Bravely Default. And he was like, no, Brave Story on Sony. I was like, oh, because I know Bravely Default is on Nintendo. And I was like, because I think that's a strategy RPG, which I don't like.
Brave Default's not strategy, but it's like a traditional Final Fantasy with the job system and whatnot.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Let's go down to another negative one.
And the negative one, the last one is a 4.
Expand.
Yeah.
So I got Skywind with a 4. I'm assuming 4 out of 10.
Take your time.
When I looked up this game for the first time, I thought, man, maybe it's better than Dragoneer's Aria. I was not so far from the truth because it's slightly better. The story is one thing, full of cliches, retarded MC.
Real professional there, guy.
Yeah, we don't say retarded anyway. Non-interesting characters on the crown of the mid-goat ish battle system.
This is a very biased review.
For a turn-based fight system, it is essential to give wide strategic possibilities to the gamer. That's not necessarily true. BS ain't got any. Maybe it's me, but this game is simple and blunt like a rock, with the same level of entertaining, 0 character customization, and almost no, I'm assuming he didn't put the in, interactivity with this fantasy world. Game is empty. There is no better term to it. This is excruciating to read.
Well, I don't know why you're still going. I thought you were going to stop it when you got back to the BS.
I was about to, but I just want to start it. I might as well finish. The only thing good is that I only borrowed it from my friend, so I never paid a dime for this waste of bytes. This dude looked like he might have failed every paper he did in his senior year.
Yeah, he's a little biased on that. Like
there's a professionalism that comes with doing reviews that you should adhere to, and that was terrible.
Yeah, that was a want. He definitely just kind of just aimed for the bad things. He didn't even talk about both sides.
Yeah, that's like one of these reviewers that are loud and boisterous who do reviews on games, but that's what you are expecting from them.
Yeah, so
that I'm expecting informative information to give me to buy the RPG or not. Now,
so to just to counter that, just because you didn't have experience of the game doesn't mean this game is bad. you can argue that the game could be repetitive. I can understand that. But this game does enough for it not to be too boring. You know what I mean? Like, it does enough to keep you kind of going that way. It's either you're in or you're out with this game, because it's kind of animated kind of style.
I'm getting sick of that argument. Games is repetitive. Every game is repetitive.
Repetitive to a different point, right?
Repetitive is fine as long as the repetition is fun. Like, I have been on a monster hunting kick for the last few weeks or something. I've went from 20 hours to 150 in that game. And it's the same thing. I'm hunting monsters. I'm just trying to do it different, trying to do it fast.
So the question is,
but it's still repetitive.
The question is, he was entertained by this repetitiveness.
Yeah, the repetitiveness for this game didn't grab him like, or you can call it the grind. There's the grind. You have to do this. What? Maybe, but as long as the grind is fun, it's fine.
Maybe this will be a conversation we have to do off air because we got to wrap this show up. But maybe repetitive is another way of saying the games gets old too quickly.
He's using repetitiveness as a negative versus. Because I guarantee you, if he was playing Call of Duty online, all you do is run out and shoot people. It's the same thing. But nobody ever complains about that.
But I guess for a shooter game in that argument, at least you're in control of where path you want to go when you get killed. Here, you're stuck in the same position doing the same thing over and over again. And
that's more of the grind, though.
Yeah, and you're either a grinder or you're not.
Oh,
so,
basically, more of the story is he's using repetitiveness as a negative. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So, okay. So, am I missing anything else before we kind of put the last pin in this? You got the quote. We did our review conversation of, people's stuff.
I think that's it.
Okay. So,
quick story though. I had a PSP for one day, broke it. Anyway,
congratulations.
One day.
Was that it wasn't here. I
was overseas.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I think you told me this story. It was Tower. Yeah, got it. Yeah, I remember the story. Okay, anyways. So, how do we feel about this game overall? Do we recommend this game? I would say yes if it was available in other place. I would not go out of your way to get a PSP to play this game. If this was an option, say, if it came to PC or they brought it to a classic store like in a PS store, I say give it a try for what it is on a good sell. I would not go out of my way going on a giant search party to find this game. The game is fun. It has a little bit of charm, but this is definitely not a game for a cup of tea. I mean, a cup of tea for everybody. So
I second that. It's if you're a traditional RPG lover and you're hating the way Final Fantasy is going to action and all that stuff, then I'd say give it a try. It's definitely not terrible. It's relatively fun. I think it has a lot of innovation in it that these people are missing. And the repetitiveness, yes, there's a repetition in everything that you do, but I think this is what can grab your attention long enough for you to enjoy it, honestly.
Okay. Well, that is it for this Adventure of Brave story, but there is more RPGs that we love to present you. As you know, this is the monthly show, so that gives Brian and I enough time to go into that world and come back with more results and info and fun quotes and progression and grind to entertain you, the adventurer in this RPG. So remember, this is part of the In-Game Boss program, Network Game, and other variety shows. So please check out all our shows. And if you want a better look at this game, we'll be on YouTube. It will be on the In-Game Boss program on YouTube, where we will show you the gameplay as we're talking about it, so you can understand. If we confuse you on the combat, if we confuse you on the story, if we confuse you of the characters, we have visual for you. If I can get the copy of it to do it visually. I can't promise every game. Okay? Can't promise every game. But so far, so good. Yeah. So, but if you're watching us on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Do you like Brave's story? Do you think this game is underrated? Do you wish this game got a re-release? Do you think Game Replay shouldn't have been shut down? I don't know. Leave a comment down below and tell us your thoughts and whatnot. And if you are a listener, don't forget, we love to hear you listen. And, don't forget we're on all other listening spots like Apple Podcasts, CastBox, and all that kind of stuff. And then also for the In-Game Boss program, we are on Twitter. So definitely check us out at Program In, capital P, capital E. And then, of course, we're on Facebook. So we post stuff up there. Brian, anything else you want to add before we disband this party?
Nope.
Get the birds?
Bring on the birds.
Bring on the birds?